Chair. Obey the law. That is not an issue. And let's also table set. The chair's opening statement spoke about how 60 million or 60% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. Prior to this administration and the Biden inflation that has gone up 14% since he took office, people had money in their checking account. People had money in their savings account. But with that Biden inflation, now people, and you can look at the statistics, the savings among the lower quintile have been depleted with this Biden inflation. Now, I think we need a table set, and if we're going to say, oh my gosh, it is the fault of X, Y, and Z, I think we really need to know exactly where that fault lies. Now, let's talk about the issue of the day. There are 76,000 union workers in Louisiana. Being a right-to-work state means that these workers have the right, and they choose to be in a union. And I am supporting that choice. They choose. And in America, you have a choice. That's what being a right-to-work state is about. Now, the majority's title and the framing of today's hearing is that you're defending the right of workers to organize, leaves out an important other side of the coin. Defending the right of a worker also includes defending those who choose that it is not their best interest to join a union. They may decide that a union limits their work flexibility, eliminates their ability to be rewarded, or based upon that their advancement is based upon individual talent and merit and not seniority. Maybe they just don't want a certain amount of their paycheck going to pay union leaders' salaries, and maybe they don't want a certain amount to disproportionately go to political candidates for whom they do not vote. And I am told that by people who choose not to be in unions. Now, let's not confuse being pro-union with being pro-worker. Being pro-worker means supporting all workers and all workers' rights and their ability to choose for themselves what is their best path forward for them and for their family. We're seeing a concerning trend that attempts to erode workers' rights. It might be administrative action, by rule if you will, or it might be the introduction of the PRO Act. These efforts are not about supporting the rights of workers. Their intent is to force workers into unions to prop up and support big politically connected unions. Yesterday, I sent a letter to the National Labor Relations Board concerning the weaponization of its enforcement power and the targeting of high-profile employers on behalf of these same well-connected unions. The purpose of the NLRB by law, and this is about obeying the law, the purpose of the NLRB by law is to provide an unbiased framework to review disputes between employees and employers. That's not what we're seeing. Last week, a Michigan court denied an NLRB request for a nationwide cease and desist order in Kerwin versus Starbucks because NLRB did not have sufficient evidence supporting a claim against the employer. Let's repeat. NLRB claimed a company was employing a nationwide anti-union policy, and by the way, the title of this hearing presumes guilt. It echoes their claim, but their claim lacks sufficient evidence to justify the accusation. What is really concerning about the NLRB hearing is that a hearing officer recently substantiated voting irregularities at a Starbucks in Kansas that could potentially elevate the misconduct on the behalf of the NRLB employees. This includes NRLB providing duplicate ballots, supplying union organizers with confidential voter information, and providing voter accommodations to employees selected by the union without offering them to all employees. These actions are in direct violation of federal law and NRLB written guidelines. By the way, I'm not here to represent a particular company. No one is above our nation's laws, and that includes the NLRB. Today we'll hear a lot about the PRO Act. To make one thing clear, PRO Act is not pro-worker, it's pro-big union. It gets rid of the secret ballot elections for unionization, which is the gold standard to keep somebody from being put into a corner and intimidated until they vote the way that the intimidator wishes them to vote. It protects them from retaliation if it goes in a different way. The PRO Act would make workers in my home state of Louisiana and 27 other states vulnerable to forced unionization. If they want to unionize, I'm for them. Let's do it. It is a constitutional right, and we should give it to them. But if they choose not to, they shouldn't be coerced, and they shouldn't be coerced in having a portion of their paycheck taken to go to union activities of which they do not approve. By the way, if workers don't have a choice of whether to join, then the union has no longer has an obligation to respond to the views of those whom they represent. And I do think this might be related to the disconnect between what we've seen between the political positions of union members and the political positions taken by their leadership. I ask my colleagues that we not conflate pro-union with pro-worker. We must support all workers, those who want to be in a union and those who do not wish to be. With that, I look forward to hearing from our witnesses.